Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Gamestack podcast. Our cameras went a little bit wonky here, so I'm just trying to fix that. Sorry. Why is it always such a... welcome to Gamestack episode 77, Cyberjunk 1977. You're listening to another wonderful episode of Gamestack, which exists right here on We Just Love Games Network. I am your co-host, Vendertron. Joining us this evening is the wonderful Rick. Oh, is it Pokey? And also the lovely Shalene. Hello, Shalene. How are you doing? Well, if you... Oh, I noticed that Rick and I are switchy around, so that's fun. Really? I can hear Rick and he's registering on the audio and Discord as well. Yeah, there you are. Oh, no. How about now? How
Check
about
1,
now?
2.
How about now?
Should we start over?
Okay, I hear it on the screen, but we should definitely just start over.
Okay. And then you could just, trim this up. Welcome everybody to another fantastic episode of Gamestack Podcast. You're listening to episode 77, Cyberjunk 1977. I'm tuning in live from the North Pole in Santa's workshop. Santa has also provided me a lovely cup of eggnog, and he says that he's watching all of you, so you better be good, because he's checking his list. Also, we have Rick with us tonight. Hello, Rick.
Hello. Yeah, and if you're not good, he's going to send that dude.
And we also have the lovely Shalene. Hello, Shalene.
Hello, I am reporting in live from Isabel's office in the Tom Nook City Hall. This is actually quite remarkably similar to my own office IRL.
Is it really?
I feel right at home. Yeah, that is the same copy machine. That copy machine is remarkably accurate.
It's a workhorse.
Yeah. Is it a Kyocera?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Konica Minolta. You got it on one of those contracts or whatever.
It is a Konica Minolta. Actually,
I would never, ever want to work like on an engineering team to make a printer, because those things are flippin' complicated machines. That's for sure.
Ours right now at the office is printing a little pink line in the middle of every page, which is lovely. And they won't send anyone to work on it. It's not low on ink. All the ink cartridges are pretty new. And they won't send anyone to work on it because of COVID.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, so now all of the official documents of City Hall have a pink line down the middle.
Decoration.
It's like the Kleenex, when you get into the end and it turns orange. Maybe you should just put a new cartridge in there.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Clearly, it's a bigger problem than just the cartridge, huh?
Yes.
I'm reminiscing about my awesome office printer, which I haven't seen for a year. And I'm pretty sure that the $1,000 ink cartridge that goes into it is now dried up.
Yeah, almost certainly it's no good anymore.
I wonder if it'll still print. Anyways, welcome to the show. Rick, we didn't catch up with you. How you doing? How's your week been?
Fine.
Yeah,
it's going good.
Excellent.
Just got my nose in books, and that's pretty much it. When you were talking about ink, I just thought of Rat Race. Was like, yes, ink.
Ink. Yeah, exactly. Well, we do have a couple of things to mention. Happy birthday, Liz! Our lovely special guest who joins us annually for the Bethesda E3 live stream. Her and Tim always join us on Gamestack when we host BE3 live. And it is her birthday today, so if you see her on social media, make sure that you wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Liz.
Yes, happy birthday.
tweet her photos of Alistair from Dragon Age. I believe would be acceptable tribute.
We also want to say we here at We Just Love Games Network want to wish all of you a very happy holidays. We know that this year is a little bit different for all of us. Many of us can't see our loved ones. Many of us are unable to be with those who really need us. And, whether you're listening live or you're listening after the show has been published, make yourselves comfortable because tonight we are your family. And if you feel alone this holiday season, our door is always open and you can join us in our Discord offline as well. We would also like to provide a public health announcement. It goes without saying that we need to be safe this holiday season, so please, please avoid Christmas in-person gatherings. If you can FaceTime, video call, use Zoom, whatever you need to do, just make it happen. We would also like to let everybody know that Zoom has actually unlocked their 40-minute time limit on free accounts over the holidays. So if you want to, make a call to or have a virtual dinner or gift opening with your family, that is a really great way to do it. And also stay safe and keep your loved ones safe. We only have to do it this year.
They did that. It's lovely that they did that.
Yeah, we only have to do it this year, guys. If we work really hard, we could see all of each other, our families at Christmas next year. We have to work really hard to achieve that. So, and it starts with making the right choices now.
As soon as you said, like, we're going to be able to see each other, all of our family again next year, I just can't wait till next year when we all show up and we're like, hey!
And you're like, God, I forgot how much I hate
I'm
this.
Go home. That one uncle was like, it was stolen! And we're just like, we're going home. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to be the case for a lot of people. COVID has run rampant through our world, and we definitely are here for all of you who have lost family members or know somebody who has lost family members and will not be able to spend the holidays with them, regardless of whether or not COVID is here. So we love you. Stay strong. Listen to the show and enjoy tonight's show. Don't forget, host us on Twitch. Tell your friends about the show. If you would like, sit grandma on the couch and set her up with some nice eggnog and tune in. We have some people in the Discord that we want to shout out and some new Discord activity. Shalene, do you want to talk about that?
I sure do. We have some lovely new listeners who have joined the Discord community. Biggest Lion, 420 Buds, and Moxie8. Welcome all of you to the Discord. We look forward to chatting and hanging out. And in the Discord, we have a few new things going on. Vendor has added a what's it called, the holiday challenge channel.
Yeah,
that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Every day you post a new holiday challenge, something like show us photos of your Christmas tree or what's your favorite holiday baked good, things like that, and everybody's sharing their traditions. There is a Cyberpunk channel now, and also a new tech support channel. So I don't know how much actual help.
The tech support channel is so good because Sullivan, who's in the chat right now, him and I have been we've just been bouncing back and forth very comically. Like, have you plugged it in? Mm-hmm. Did you turn it on and off again? Unfortunately, we won't be able to get to your ticket for another 6 months. So it's great. Yeah. How can people join the Discord, Shalene?
You can join the Discord by clicking on the link below here on our Twitch page. Even if we are not live, that link is always up on twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. Alternately, you can send any of us a message on social media and we will send you a link.
Great. So tonight we're going to talk about some news. We've got a Gamestock list that Rick's going to take us through. We have a little bit of a special segment for the holiday episode as well. We're introducing a new segment called Game Science. We're going to talk about the science of video games specifically. And then we're going to cap things off with our gameplay, as always. So, but without further ado, this just in. Take it away, Shalene.
Thank you, Vendor. So, the first thing we are going to talk about is Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh, God.
And its extremely controversial launch. We're going to go right into it. We're gonna go right into it. So, um,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Dive right into this.
so first of all, I don't really know all that much. What I do know is that it is perceived that they've had a rocky launch.
Little bit.
Lots of bugs, lots of problems, and there's a lot of unhappy consumers and a lot of unhappy shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Is that correct?
That is a pretty good synopsis of the situation.
Okay.
So basically, the game received rave reviews from critics, from critics who are playing it on PC. Because CD Projekt Red did not pass out any console keys for this game for review purposes. They only sent out PC copies for review.
Can't
Interesting.
imagine why.
Yeah, that's pretty unusual. That's not very customary. Usually, you can ask for your preferred platform and get to check out, what you want to see.
They probably were. They're like, which was your preferred platform? And people were like, oh, Xbox. Like, so here's your PC key.
Yeah,
Like, wait a minute, no, I said
exactly.
Xbox. Right, PC,
Yeah.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Here you go, GOG.
Oh boy.
There you go. You're welcome. It received pretty good reviews across the board, but then when launch day arrived, there are a lot of consumers out here who still are using their launch Xbox Ones and their launch PS4s. I still have a launch PS4 myself, and it's bad on those platforms. It's very, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a disaster.
And
on
you've
those
you've played
platforms.
it on Xbox?
I have not. No,
Have you
What do
have
you
you
have it
played
on?
it?
I've played it on PC.
Okay. And Rick, what
So-
about you?
PC, man.
Okay.
I've actually had only a good experience. Of course, I do have some criticisms of the game. We
Fair
can
enough.
get into that later. We can do it now. But I haven't had any technical problems. So,
Okay.
yeah, I haven't played much, though. Rick's played a good deal more than I have.
Yeah.
So Rick, what about you? Any bugs? Any issues?
Oh yeah. I mean, like,
Oh
like
no.
but well, here's the thing though. Like, so I I really like the game. There's a lot of bugs, but the problem is and the reason it's hard to quantify this is because, like Shalene, you pointed out, mainly the issues are with the Xbox One and PS4 base models, not the high performance ones, but the base models. And PC, if you have a high enough PC, it runs fine. I run everything on like Ultra with RTX, which is ray tracing, and that's on Ultra,
Mhm.
and I get like 55 to 60 frames per second constantly. So
Okay.
I'm up in my little penthouse suite where life is good with Cyberpunk, and and I'm like, this is great, this is fine. I'll get into some of the bugs that I had been having because they kind of go along with the gameplay, but mainly it's just like some graphical stuff. When somebody's like, you know what, I don't like you, and they just kind of like scoot away rather than walk. That's happened. Just stuff like that. But I've had to reload a few times with like HUD elements staying up on the screen. But I haven't had any of the issues that other people have had. I mean, I've had a really pleasant experience. This game was clearly optimized for the PC before the consoles were. And I think that's the same way The Witcher was. It was like PC first and then console second. At least that's the way that I've understood it. But anyway.
I think what we're seeing here is that there needs to be a fine balance between PR and launch. If a game is overhyped, you're going to place unreasonable expectations on your consumers.
The hype for this game was tremendous.
Right?
It was through the roof. And even if it had launched smoothly, even if these problems hadn't been present, it's impossible for a game to live up to hype like that.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
So they literally they figuratively shot themselves in the foot before they even knew it. In coming out with this really great PR model. And I mean, it's not to say that they didn't do a bad job or they didn't do a good job advertising the game, because they absolutely did. But but it caused a lot of problems for them. I think they need to be realistic about that.
The issue is the base consoles. Honestly, everything else is fine. If it would have came out operating the way that it did on the base consoles, the way it does on PC or the high performance consoles, it probably would have got a 6.5 or 7 rating. And everything would have been, and the reason it would have been that low is because of all the hype and some of the graphical issues that it does have and some of the goofiness that it does have, for sure. But go ahead.
Well, I feel like it's really important, though, to note that the game, if it didn't work on these base consoles, maybe it shouldn't have come out on these base consoles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe they should have said, hey, guys, you're not going to get a great experience on these consoles. We're only releasing it for the higher end model of consoles and for PC.
And it's a damned.
Tim says they bleeping knew in chat. They bleeping knew. They did. They plainly knew, because they didn't hand out these console codes for review purposes, and they carefully avoided showing the game's performance on these platforms. It feels deceitful. It feels awfully deceitful.
Yeah.
So, I really do feel like if the game wasn't ready on those platforms, it should never have been released on them.
Well, and the thing is it's sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. If they hadn't released it on the older model consoles, people would have still raised hell about it. And found something to complain about, because we know historically that this is the culture of video gamers. They're very harsh critics, and almost entitled in a way. I've really, doing this podcast with you guys and playing video games with you guys, I've really come to learn not to expect a lot from video game developers at the start when games launch. And it's kind of sad that we've moved into this space where you expect games to be bad at launch now. And that's just normal. And it started when video games started pushing updates, regular updates. So, I mean, we all know the time when games launched and that was what you got. Like, that was it. But now it's like, we pushed an update. We're pushing another update tomorrow. And then you're like constantly updating.
Cyberpunk had like a 45 gig day one patch or something like that. It was enormous.
That's standard these days to have a giant day one patch.
Yeah.
Something that I find really funny as well is that this game was delayed and delayed and delayed. But the most recent delay was only a delay of about a month or so. So this game could have easily launched at a time when the next gen consoles, the new consoles, did not exist, when they were not in the hands of the consumer.
It would have been even worse. Yeah.
Imagine the reception this game would have had.
Good point.
Here's what they should have done, and they would have solved all this. They should have, and I think, Shalene, you suggested it, they should have said, hey, we are not going to release it on the base gen consoles. And if people were like, but we want it, and if they would say, because it doesn't run well, and people would have said, but we want it, then they should have released it saying, it's garbage, you're gonna hate it. And then it would have been on the onus of the customer, at least, because they would have been like, release it. But yeah, it's
well, the other thing too is that these constant delays, what does that say about the company and the team itself?
I think it's a small team working on a giant game,
right?
I mean, it's CD.
So
is CD Projekt Red
it's a management issue,
right? What's really going on in the engine?
I think they're much bigger now than they were when they were doing The Witcher. I don't know.
And CD Projekt Red is now owned by Microsoft, correct?
No.
They're not.
No, they own themselves.
I'm looking up the.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, I don't know. I think that there was a lot of bad management choices made. Which, I mean, it's not going to be good for the CEO of CD Projekt Red.
It's bigger than I thought. It's over 1,000 employees.
Yeah.
So you have a team of 1,000 people.
Yep.
So, okay.
Shall we get through the article?
All right.
Yeah. I think we didn't even refer to this article really, but I believe we've covered all of the salient
That's
points
true.
that it contains. Um, we absolutely have. So let's move on to part 2 of the cyberpunk discussion. Holy smokes, you guys. This was big news. I was a little shocked to see this. So customers are wanting refunds, and CD Projekt Red has stated that they want customers to be able to get refunds if they want them, and they will do everything they can to facilitate refunds. But in addition to that, Sony has stated that not only will they be offering full refunds for Cyberpunk 2077, they pulled it from the store. They pulled it from the PlayStation Network store. Um, so it's no longer available to purchase digitally. I'm shocked at that.
Yeah.
So anybody who has purchased it, they will begin giving you a refund. Um, but it's been completely delisted until further notice. They completely pulled it,
Well,
and that to me is absolutely shocking.
what I want to know is on the PlayStation, the high-end PlayStation where it's working fine. Does it now it's gone for that too?
That is my understanding.
Wow. That
Yeah,
if you purchased it and it's working and you're enjoying it, can you still play it?
I think so. Yeah, I believe you
Okay.
have to request the refund.
All right. As long
So,
as that is the case, because when I saw this pop up, I didn't really look into it yet because I knew we'd cover it. I got real worried for people who are really enjoying it on PlayStation.
yeah.
And yeah.
Microsoft is also offering full refunds. I saw a tweet thread that I got a little chuckle about because someone had requested and received their refund from the Microsoft store, but the email confirming the refund stated that they would be removing the game from the person's account, because it's
Right.
a refund.
Mm-hmm.
And the person just was really mad because they thought they were going to still be able to continue playing the game and
Wow.
just have it for free.
It's like
Dirtbag.
eating 3/4 of your burger and be like, this is undercooked. I want my money back. And
Yeah.
you're like, no.
Yeah.
You ate
Working in restaurants for most of my life, you have no idea how many times I would go to a table and they would like have a hair in the plate, but they ate all the food and there would just be a hair in like the clean plate. It was their own hair.
It was probably their
always.
own. They plucked
It was
it
their
out.
own
Yeah.
hair.
Garbage.
One time this lady was like, "Oh, there's hair in my food." And it was like a long blonde hair, right? And of course, I have dark hair. I was the waitress. The cook was a guy with dark hair that was about a millimeter thick, like just tiny, tiny, very, very short hair. And I was like, ma'am, really? Really? Like, we're the only people in here. You telling me that's my hair, that long blonde hair? Like, really? That's, I did not give her money back. That's okay. That's your anecdote about
Anyways,
hair
okay.
today.
nice.
How do you guys feel about Sony pulling this?
I think, from my understanding, this has to do with the way that their policy statements are written. That in order to give refunds digitally, it can't be hosted on the store. So it's a catch-22. I don't know though, but I think this is huge. Bad.
Shalene, what do you think?
I think that this goes to show that high profile games are getting passes that other games are not getting in terms of quality control, and that everybody needs to be held to the same standard. They all knew that this game didn't perform the way that it should have performed, and they should have said, hey, this doesn't fit our standards. This game, we're sorry, CD Projekt Red, this doesn't fit our standards. Get it up to par, and then we'll put it on the store.
Do you think PlayStation knew beforehand?
Of course they knew. Of course they knew.
Yeah.
You think there was nobody at Sony who got a hold of this game and tested it out?
That's true. Yeah, I don't know how that process works. I don't know if the testing is done in-house or if
there
it's
is testing that is done in-house.
Right, I know that.
But of course, the console manufacturers have their own standards for the store. your game has to meet a certain standard to be available to purchase on the store. And it's someone from Sony or someone from Microsoft who confirms that. So
So how did that get through?
they gave them a pass. They gave them a pass because it was Cyberpunk.
Yeah, probably.
Well, lesson learned. I betcha they're not going to make that mistake again.
They probably will. I'm cynical though.
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe this is a whole No Man's Sky thing all over again. Although
a lot of people are comparing it to No Man's Sky,
Sean
but I
Murray's
feel like
pretty
that's
awesome.
not apt.
Sean Murray's pretty awesome. I don't know if the CEO of Project whatever.
No Man's Sky was not the game that people expected it to be because the marketing message was different than what the game actually was.
Yeah, but
No Man's Sky functioned. It worked.
You're right. It did function. It was functionable.
Didn't they lose the build copy due to a technical issue before the game launched, which is why all the features were gone? So like even then they had like a failure, a technical failure. Granted, it should have been backed up, but this was just
fascinating.
Flood. Yeah, it was a flood.
That's what I thought.
I mean, honestly, where do you store your files, right? Where do you back them up? You can't put them in your. You can't put them all in your head. How do you remember all that stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. But as a Bethesda fan, it feels awfully hypocritical of me to be so judgmental on CD Projekt Red, though.
But we're being judgmental on the fact that they lied about the performance on consoles like this. Like this was just shady activity. Like Bethesda, like
they were like, it's going to be bad on all things.
Well,
so
at least, but you're kind of not wrong, vendor. At least the issues exist on all platforms equally for the most part, you know?
No, though. Remember how bad Skyrim was on PS3?
I didn't have a PS3 to play.
Oh, it was bad.
Bethesda never worked well with PlayStation.
I loved Skyrim on PS3. I loved it. I loved it, bugs and all. It was great.
But that's the thing, though. There were bugs that were kind of endearing, and they weren't really game-breaking for the most part, minus the hat walking into the strip in New Vegas. But all I'm saying is like, they don't, to me, like, they didn't blatantly lie and like, yeah, it works fine on this, and then you get it and it's completely broken. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. To me, it wasn't the same level. Cyberpunk is in its own world of bullcrap right now that is honestly setting a new low for game developers to hit.
It really is a complicated discussion.
It really is.
Because even though it's in many ways a broken game, there are still tons of players out there playing the version that doesn't perform as well and loving it. Yeah. And they're not wrong. You know, they're allowed to love what they love. We're Bethesda fans here, you know. We've loved plenty of broken games. It's a complicated conversation.
It's not a bad game. Mm-hmm. It's just built wrong for those platforms and not optimized, and it's full of bugs. But the game itself is inherently good, in my opinion. And I think that that's what some people are able to see through. I have a problem with the lying and the scheming and the the shadiness of the whole thing. That's the biggest issue, in my opinion.
It feels extraordinarily shady.
Yeah.
That they've
it would just been honest. It would have been better.
I do think that an important takeaway for all game developers
they all listen to the show.
Going forward, because they all listen, of course, within turn, is that when you're in between generations, you need to make those considerations for the consumer. Instead of pushing it out to make an extra $1, you need to slap those warning labels or just avoid it altogether and make the leap to a new console. Sony would love you for it because people will buy consoles just to play a single video game, being that person who bought a new console just to play Fallout 4. So, the proof is in the pudding. We've seen this before. We need to be careful jumping from generation to generation and new consoles.
Yeah. I really wonder if this bodes ill for the many games that have been promised to be cross-generational and operate on both the old and the new consoles.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a slap to the face. Sullivan in the chat says, "Well, their name is CD Project Red."
Very clever. Very
Clever. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know what the architecture and the chipsets are like on the new consoles versus the older ones, and what, you know, what two different development platforms you have to have. I mean, if they're that different, the architecture of the game has to be completely changed and different, and that's a huge, huge, complicated undertaking because you're basically building two different games.
Well, is CD Projekt Red built under Unreal Engine 5?
I have no idea what.
I think it's their own engine.
Okay. See, I foresee the same issues coming with all new games that are coming out in the next 10 years with Unreal Engine 5. People are going to try and run it on an old system, and then they're going to be like, it's garbage, it doesn't work. But it's just their hardware is not capable of handling it.
Yeah, they use the Red engine.
Ah, okay. So it's their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Proprietary.
Yeah.
But kind of like the Creation engine in a way. I mean, not like the two similar engines, but they're proprietary. Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work. I mean, clearly this is a next generation game. It should have been just next generation, and they would have solved all the issues and done what you suggested, Vendor. They would have pushed people to buy the new generation because of all the hype.
The funny thing is that it was built for the current generation.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't. I can't remember if I said this to you guys, but it feels like their eyes were bigger than their stomach with the plate of stuff that they wanted to do.
It's literally me walking into a buffet in Palm Springs. Yeah. With a $70, you pay $70. You're only allowed to be there for 3 hours, but you can eat whatever you want. And I have like 9 lobsters and 2 steaks, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, what I can expect from CD Projekt Red moving forward is that they're going to fix the problems, and then people are going to be like, well, they fixed the problems, so they're really not that bad. But it's going to be the same people who bitched about it. And they're going to be like, oh, it's not that bad. Or they're going to be like, it's still broken. And, it's just, I don't know. I get really annoyed by the gaming community, but and we've talked about this on past shows, is that I have this theory that the people who are loud and complain about it, it's a certain age demographic, right?
But a lot of these people have warrant to their claims.
True. That's and it's not the same in all instances, right?
Right.
But there's this weird sense of entitlement that exists where, a team works on something for 6-7 years and it comes out and people are like, it's garbage. And it's like, okay, well, did you work on it for 7 years? You paid $70 for it. But maybe just try to appreciate the work that these people put into it during a pandemic. So I don't know. I'm on the fence. I do think that, I never bought Cyberpunk. I didn't have any intention of playing it because it was so overhyped and I knew that something was fishy about that. But at the same time, these are people. We always default back to that, right? These are people. They have lives. They're going through stuff too. But you guys are right. There was some fatal mistakes made along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is on management.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, wow.
And actually, this kind of quickly moving on. This next article does tie into CD Projekt Red.
I just want to take my mind off of all of this for a minute. Just
nice.
And let's talk about brain-controlled video games.
Oh.
Yes. So this is an article from the Washington Post by Lewis Gordon. The University of Pittsburgh Medical Center has shut down its laboratories because of COVID-19. And this article tells the story of Nathan Copeland, a 33-year-old volunteer who collected some equipment that changes his life. Really, it's very important. He is paralyzed from the chest down. He has only limited arm movement, And this equipment in question is an advanced brain-computer interface. And this is a device that allows him to control on-screen actions with his mind.
Amazing.
Yes, he is part of this research study into brain-computer interfaces at University of Pittsburgh. This study was awarded over $8 million by the National Institutes of Health. And these experiments are a little peek into the potential of a transhumanist future, much like in cyberpunk type media, which is fascinating.
Oh.
So in 2015, Copeland had a transistor-like chip known as a multi-electrode array surgically implanted directly into his brain. And this chip records the rapid firing of cellular neurons, an almost inscrutably complex neurological signal. And the signal is ferried over to a computer for decoding. That signal is translated into the desired, seemingly telekinetic actions of its user. So this allows him to control a robotic arm, which is very cool. And it also has implications for video games. It could be used for video games. He's played Slay the Spire and Raiden 5. I don't know what Raiden 5 is, but Slay the Spire is something I'm familiar with. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2. You know, these are all Final Fantasy 14. It's complicated, but it's a doable thing. So
next thing you know, there's like Brain Saber.
Yes, instead of Beat Saber. That'd be great.
This is so fascinating because, like, you know, as a kid in like the 90s and stuff, you're like, oh, and they control things with their mind, you know, or like the Doc in Back to the Future when he has the mind reader on. We're getting there. I mean, a brain is just electrical impulses, so why would it not be able to control a computer or vice versa? It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find this fascinating, and I was glad that you included this, Bender, because it was really interesting to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I said that this ties into Cyberpunk is a lot of different experiences in Cyberpunk are done through basically interfacing with one's own body, you know. So it's a huge part in that game where your technical side and organic side are very much meshed together, so it allows certain things to you can experience stuff on a whole deeper level than just physical touch. Like, so it's that's why I said this kind of ties in together a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyway.
it's interesting. I mean, it's and you know, we could bring in the whole topic of AI and how that fits into this, but that's a whole other thing. It's really cool that this gentleman is able to improve his quality of life, and you know, make physical movements for himself just with his brain.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely amazing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So,
I mean, I want to like, it would be so nice to just sit and just think, and the words show up on the screen, and I don't have to type anymore. I mean, I could do that with dictation, but dictation is, you know, it's never really.
It's a pain in the dictation.
Yeah.
And then you're a dictator.
And I don't want to be that.
Yeah. Nobody likes a dictator.
For some reason, that word is separated into two words for me as like dick and tater.
Well, you know, guys,
someone says dictator.
It's been a year. It's been a year for dictators. This is our last episode of Gamestack, so we can we just move on from that then?
Okay. Okay, just to be clear, this is not our last episode of Gamestack.
Not episode of Gamestack for 2020.
Yes, just
for
being
2020.
Clear. Just making that clear to the people. We're
dictator.
Yes. You guys, you're a mess. Moving on.
Sven Sylvan, Dictator
Johnson
was my
Spud.
friend. Oh man.
God of
Okay.
radio, he prefers to be called Richard.
A buddy of mine used to call me Richard Head in high school, and it took me forever to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next article is from the Chicago Tribune, and it's basically an editorial about how big this year was for video games and how much video game culture has changed over this year. 2020 has been huge for video games. The economy has been really suffering in so many different ways, but video game companies have been super successful because there are new players, there are new people playing games, there are people, more people are home now than ever before, and more people are wanting to access this type of entertainment. So it's been a lot of growth in this industry. So that has led to some really interesting side effects in terms of games culture. Of course, Animal Crossing New Horizons is something that has become a stand-in for in-person interactions in many ways. As people who wouldn't traditionally consider themselves gamers are celebrating events with their friends and family via Animal Crossing. And of course, the face of gaming is changing as well. The Last of Us 2 was one of the biggest games of the year, and it features stories about a queer protagonist, and it's transgender experiences and some different things that we're not used to seeing in gaming.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a lot of changes.
Yep.
So
great. Yeah, I like to, I think that there's been a lot of people playing video games that have sort of shifted the industry as well. I can't remember her Twitch handle, but she's a partner streamer on Twitch that limited the maximum amount of a donation that you can make to her channel in order to promote smaller streamers. And we talked about that.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Pokimane. Yeah.
I thought it was Pokimane.
I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't watch her.
Yeah.
Pokimane and Bulbasaurs.
Amazing. There's so much great things that are happening, and I love that. I mean, it's one of the silver linings of 2020 and the pandemic is that people are starting to realize that video games really aren't all that bad. And they are just another way for people to connect. And I love that. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all of us have been going, yes, that's what we've been saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see this medium that we all love so much, that's so important to all of us, growing a little bit more mainstream and reaching places and people that it hadn't reached before.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I still think us like gamers have trouble reaching out and shaking hands with the COD jocks. You know what I mean?
Well, more
like
on that in our
subset.
special segment.
Oh, really? It's just this weird subset of like the jockey kids in school now all play Call of Duty, and you're just like, you know what? No, I'm still not.
I
no.
still don't like you. No. No.
I'm just kidding.
I'm not.
I
Still
I was
don't
trying to
like
be
those
inclusive.
people. Nope.
The only reason I stopped playing Call of Duty is because the install size is over 250 gigabytes now. That's stupid.
That's
for
more
one
than
game.
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It's just
dumb.
silly.
What's
It
that
is
about?
dumb.
Like,
I don't know.
it's not even that great.
Well, I feel like
Did we just derail?
We're
you?
all trying to survive,
no,
Shalene. We're
no,
all trying to
this is
survive.
good.
It's
This is
2020.
good. Let me. Okay, I'm just thinking that the people who are, these traditional gamers that you're talking about. And the people who are going to be interested in our next article are a Venn diagram. Arc 2 was announced.
Yes!
Arc 2 was announced. Yes,
Oh,
at the
so
Game
excited.
Awards,
That hurt.
starring Vin Diesel, and that was my terrible
But you talk about a jock nerd dude, but he's not a jock. He's complete nerd.
Vin
Like,
Diesel.
yes, but
100%.
he's
100%.
yes, he's actually
Arc 2,
also
baby.
a producer of this game.
God of Radio is just hearing about it for the first time and frantically Googling it so that he can watch they can watch the trailer.
Dude, Vin Diesel's an avid D&D player.
Vin Diesel's great. I love Vin Diesel. He does a lot of philanthropic work. It's really cool to see him in the art community. Why don't you tell us about the article, Shalene?
Okay, so this is an article from WindowsCentral.com.
Some back alley. Oh, I fished
an
it.
article for you, kid.
I
right
fished
here.
it out of I
Only cost you a finger.
you know why I chose it? Because it's easy on my eyeballs. Because it's a dark background,
I like the look.
and I'm like, Shalene will
So-
probably like that as well.
Ark Survival Evolved, of course, is a game that is near and dear to Vendor's heart,
Mhm.
as well as many others in our community. And it's a survival game. It's a game about building and a game about community and taming dinosaurs and making your own fun. And Arc 2 promises to be much more than that. This trailer features Vin Diesel's character, Santiago, who is protecting his tribe members. And there are numerous threats that they encounter. In addition to the dinos, there are some kind of other creatures at play. And they state that it will be similar to Ark Survival Evolved in many aspects, that it is still a sandbox survival experience. So that core of the gameplay won't be going away, but they are injecting more of a story into this sequel.
Which is what I love.
Yeah, it's really cool. And he's not just the star. Vin Diesel is not just an actor in this game. He's also an executive producer. He's played over 1,000 hours of Ark, which is rookie numbers.
Is it
We gotta get those
EP?
numbers up.
Vin Diesel's played 1,000 hours of Ark.
Yes.
Are you trailering it now?
Well, I'm
That's-
queuing the trailer in case we want to watch it.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
the
you-
article says.
It's on the
It says
live
that he's-
thing, Vendor.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
He's played 1,000 hours of Ark, according to this article. I cannot attest to that. I was not there. I did not see Vin playing Ark.
I mean,
so.
I just want to play Ark with Vin Diesel now.
Wouldn't that be cool? We should try and get him on the show.
Vin Diesel, if you're listening, you are welcome to a slot on our 10-person server.
Lovely.
We have a whole
Lovely.
city. We have a whole city built.
They will also be producing an animated series based around Ark and the character Santiago. And the show will also have actors like Michelle Yeoh, Gerard Butler, Jeffrey Wright, David Tennant.
Dang.
Yeah,
Amazing.
It's a star-studded cast.
I
Ooh, Ark is
know.
big, but
Star-studded.
that
Now,
big?
okay, now one of the things about... Well, should we just cue the trailer and watch the trailer
Let's
first?
just
And
do
then...
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Do it.
It's time to go.
Oh, I got chills.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's not done yet. Keep watching.
Oh, all right.
Lights out, old friend.
So, okay, first impressions, awesome. I mean, it's Unreal Engine 5, so it's going to be great. I think one of the criticisms that people had with Ark was that there was this unwritten, hidden lore that existed within the game that people wanted to know more about, but it just wasn't there. Had lots of speculation about how the obelisks got on the maps and where all these artifacts came from and you know, where did the implant in your wrist come from? Why is it there? Like, what does it do? And you know, there's lots of speculation around it, and you know, some of it is written in the wikis and things like that, but it's not. It was never part of the development of the game itself. It looks like they have there's a whole story progression there.
Yeah.
And they said within this trailer that some of the footage, I mean, that's what you can expect to see, in the game itself, which
Nice.
is pretty cool.
Huh.
So I'm super excited about this. What I am a little bit worried about is what is the stuff about Ark that we love going to be like? What's the building going to be like? Is there still going to be? Can you tame a T-Rex and ride a T-Rex down the beach or something? You know, like what do the worlds look like? What are the maps going to be like?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the classic island and then ocean all around, or is it going to be so huge and expansive that it's bigger than you could possibly imagine? Is it going to be like Red Dead? Like, God, there's so many questions. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
One thing, though, I think you should have faith in is the fact that I feel like Ark, the devs really understand the fans. And the same thing with, like, you know, Vin, who's kind of a fanboy, being able to be involved with it. I would imagine the stuff that you loved will be there in a capacity.
Ark
because-
has, yeah, Wildcard Studios has they do a really good job of listening to their community. They have a hard time fixing fundamental things about the existing Ark game, that people just have sort of come to deal with. But they have developed a lot of free content. All of the DLC, aside from Genesis and some other things, but like the Winter Wonderland event that's happening right now, it's Winter Wonderland 5. This is the 5th year in a row that they've put out this additional content for the game, and nobody has to pay for it. And it's really cool to have that because, you know, raptor claws. Come on. It's a raptor that rides around in the sleigh across the sky all the time, and he drops presents on all the boys and girls.
Oh, dude, I remember trying to go. He's like, there he is, go! And we have to, like, go. Yeah.
Last year I got a spear. and some cloth pants. And like I've reached 2,000 hours in Ark.
You should have been the EP.
No.
As you fantasize about being an EP in your head.
I was just thinking about it. Yeah. Anyways, I like that there's a story. I hope that it brings maybe Rick back into it. Maybe Shalene will want to try it to play the story. I don't know.
I would, because that was the thing that I really felt was lacking in Ark was goals.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like if you rewatch the trailer and you pause that glimpse of the UI that you see, there is achievements in there. And there's something about genetic mutations and other stuff. There's still engrams, which is a little bit annoying, but because I don't think people like the engrams. But
I don't like cinematic trailers because it's just like, okay, cool, great. I'm glad you have been able to make 3D animation. We've been doing that since 1998 in Toy Story 1. Please show me the gameplay. But, I mean, you referenced that this might actually look like the game.
yes. So Wildcard
Wildcard
has come out and said that you can expect similar cutscenes like this in the video game. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
all right.
That's ambitious.
They also claimed that it's still going to be multiplayer online, open sandbox. So I feel like they're going more the Rockstar path.
Yeah.
With this.
I'll just find me an island with no dinos on it.
Yeah, I'm curious. The character creation in Ark is already pretty darn good. In my opinion, it's quite It's quite customizable. I mean, you don't have.
That's true.
You can't customize your genitals, but you can structure your face the way you want it to look, and your legs, if you want to be really short or really tall, you can do that. What's it going to be like in this new one?
Maybe you can actually customize your genitals.
I hope so.
You can make its face structure. Is it smiling?
Anyways, I was super excited about that. We spent more time than what was necessary. Just gonna gloss over that.
All right.
Let's move on into Gamestack, shall we?
Oh, Gamestock. Okay.
Okay.
What's going on the ticker tape this week, Rick?
Well, most things are up, including Sony, which closed at $98.71. That's up $1.69. Nice. And Microsoft is closed at $218.59, which is down by 83 cents. Nintendo also closed down at $80.84. They're down $1.31 a share. Take-Two is up. My goodness, this is a big jump, actually, it looks like. Take-Two is up at $203.39, which is up by $5.99. Activision is also up at $90.37 a share, closing at $1.91. Ubisoft is also up, weirdly, closing at $78.92. They're up $2.58 a share. EA is up by $2.76. They closed at $142.61. And Tencent is up by 3 cents, and they closed at $75.31.
Wow. I actually
those things are green on the board there.
I was looking at Take-Two, and it's like it went up $6, but it actually was only a 3% gain on their stock.
So since I bought this Nintendo stock, I bought the Nintendo stock at $47.33, and now it's $80.84. So
Nice,
I'm feeling
though.
pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Well, and you bought it.
Yeah,
You bought it pre-Switch, right?
No,
After
but
the
I
Switch.
did buy it pre-Animal Crossing.
Oh, which is super popular.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I'm starting to wonder if it's time to sell Nintendo and move on.
Decisions.
Well, I mean,
I
you've-
wouldn't buy into CD Projekt Red anytime soon.
Shalene, you've doubled your money. At the very least, sell what you put into it
Yeah.
and get your money
Yeah.
back. You know.
Yeah, but maybe you should get a couple CD Projekt Red stocks because you know that's going to go up.
They're bargain basement right now.
They
Yeah.
are. Their stock has went down.
Oh dear. Well,
So anyway, that was good game stock.
well, that's GameStop, guys. Up next, special segment.
Yay!
Bumper.
So I thought for this special segment, we could do something a little bit impromptu and put on our improv hats and just have an open discussion about pandemic Christmas. This year obviously is very different for all of us. And, some of you may be listening to the podcast for the first time. Most of you really love video games. I mean, that's the whole point of the show. But we wanted to talk about maybe some pandemic gifts ideas for the video gamer in your family. coming from people who play video games, what are some really great ideas that you guys can think of that would be really great gifts for people who like to play video games?
Well, of course, the obvious one is if you manage to get a hold of a new console. Um, yes, hopefully, my niece and nephew don't watch the podcast because they're too young for the podcast, but also because I've talked about how I got them an Xbox Series X. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's
Are you just realizing this now, or?
yes. They know I do the podcast. They have seen it before. So maybe I may have to be.
Well,
more
if you
careful.
guys are listening, just pretend and be really excited when you
Yes.
open Aunt Shalene's gift, or else she'll be very
I'll
heartbroken.
mark it with an explicit tag so that way they won't watch it. They're like, they might say the F word.
Yes, but obviously
okay.
new consoles are a great
Mhm.
gift. Controllers, extra controllers are another great gift. And that's something that I always have to make sure and get them a second controller so they can play together.
Right,
So,
right, because
Now-
most only come with one.
Let's assume, because it's fairly practical and safe to assume that most family members may not know what little Timmy or little Jenny wants as far as being a gamer. Because Aunt Bertha's probably like, well, I never grew up with those things on the video
That's-
screens there, and I don't know what to get them. So it's very safe to say a gift card is also
Yes.
a very acceptable answer.
mhm.
Either
Mhm.
to your favorite game store or Steam or Xbox store and things
Amazon even,
like that.
Mhm.
Amazing, yeah.
I
Amazing.
mean, I don't really want to support Amazon all that much, but if you want to be able to buy video game paraphernalia,
Well, Amazon's supporting my entire Christmas list this year.
I
so
know all the boxes under my tree, they're not even wrapped. It's just Amazon
It's
boxes.
just Amazon.
It's so
The
bad.
tree is made out of Amazon. boxes.
Ah, we ordered the tree on Amazon. Christmas is now, I don't know. Yeah, that's a great idea. Gift cards, awesome idea. And it's
Headsets are another good one.
the thing this year is that it's really hard because it's safer for us to order it and have it shipped to their house than to bring it over or gift it or hand it to them, right? Because you have to have that interaction. And I think that's where, ordering things online and having it go to the house, maybe wrapped or still in the box, is a nice opportunity for people.
I think another good idea is if you're older, let's say you're a spouse, partner, or something, friends with insane benefits to someone who's in our age group, maybe
It's
like
with
in a
insane benefits as opposed to just regular. Anyways,
Well,
continue.
I mean, if you have a friend with benefits that's looking to buy you a video game gift, I'd say that's probably a little bit more significant than just someone who's a little bit of a fun buddy. But anyway, my whole point was a nostalgic Christmas gift, as far as like maybe an older console, maybe an older game that was you were really into as a child or something like that, which requires a little bit more intimate knowledge of the person that you're buying it for. But that's always a great Christmas gift. One year, Sarah bought me Banjo Kazooie and Star Fox 64, and it was awesome because I had sold all those games like an idiot early on. So
The other thing is I'm going to shift a little bit away from gifts themselves, but if playing games together at Christmas is something that you regularly do, and that's not going to happen because you don't have the people that normally come over every year. You can play Monopoly on Steam. Monopoly is like $8 on Steam, and you can play it. You guys can play it if you want. Or Risk. Risk is also on Steam. There's a lot of board games that are available for you to play with your friends and family over the holidays virtually.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of board games on Steam too for the not adventurous type. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I've been playing a lot of checkers recently. That's fun. It's fun. Not digitally,
I'm
of course.
excited to break out the Scrabble board. I mean, it's not a
Scrabble
virtual.
is so
It's
fun.
not a virtual thing, but I have this great big giant it's all wood and deluxe edition, whatever. And it spins. It's on a Lazy Susan, so it's like super convenient, right?
So if you're losing, you can just go.
Well,
They
no,
fly
because
everywhere.
the letters, they fit into little grooves, so they don't move.
Oh, that's pretty convenient.
So even if you wanted to spin it and table rage, yeah. So I love Scrabble, make some tea, make some snacks, get all nice and cozy, and then sit there thinking for 3 hours about a single word. Is one of my favorite pastimes.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought we could talk a little bit about Christmas gifts and
I
things.
think that's a great things to avoid, presents to avoid. If Aunt Bertha knows that little Timmy or little Jenny has a Nintendo, don't get her a Nintendo Switch. Don't go for things like that. If you want to buy a video game that is probably in a dollar store or a Dollar Tree type situation, run. Don't walk away from it. Don't get any off-brand stuff. Well, I got you a Nario character. I thought you liked Nario, the Uber brothers. And it's like, no.
Yeah. Amoeba is not the same thing as amiibo.
Have you seen the comic where the kid is opening his present? He's like, "Grandma, you got me a PlayStation 5?" And then it zooms in and it's a PlayStation 5.
When I was a little kid and we went to this particular church, they loved giving us $20 bills that when you would open them up were like little, here's how you can come to Jesus little things.
Oh,
that-
God.
I've gotten those as tips while waiting tables.
You see this fire?
That is
This
not
fire
how you
right
bring
here?
people to Jesus.
That's where that's going. Right there.
Yeah, those as tips are going to lead you to find the closest Wicca and learn how to cast a spell.
And then I became a pagan. So what are your guys' what are you guys gonna do this year? What are your you each of you have family traditions, but it's gonna be a little bit different, I think, for all of us this year. So what have you got planned?
Well, we're going to FaceTime with the kiddos and watch them open that Xbox.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
Again, act excited.
Yes.
Oh, Santa brought you the PlayStation. The PlayStation 5. This year we're probably just gonna open gifts around the house.
Like
And,
Evie wrapped up your hammer and gave it to you, or
no.
oh
No, I'm fairly certain. So my wife bought all the gifts this year for Christmas. So I don't know what we get other people.
you guys gotta communicate.
So
So
she
it's
just
as
comes
much a
downstairs.
surprise to you as it is.
Yeah, our brother-in-law will open up. He's like, "Oh, guys, thanks," and I'm like, "You're welcome. That was really thoughtful, full gift that we got you there." But I think it's gonna be. I'm fairly certain I probably got vinyl records. It's safe to say.
Nice.
It's safe to say. I have Sarah's gift. I was really scared because her gift I thought was going to get delayed in shipping. It should be here before Christmas, which I'm super excited about. But we're probably just gonna, open gifts at home Christmas morning.
Yep.
And the store was all out of. When I was a kid, let me wax a little bit here for you. When I was a child, we would go to my grandparents' house, and the entire family would show up for this New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve thing, and it was like 40 of us, probably great grandkids all the way up to the children, to the grandparents and stuff. And we would have dinner, then we'd all go to our separate churches, and then we'd come back, and then we would all do a giant gift exchange. I mean, just tons of gifts everywhere. And afterwards, we would eat a particular local brand of ice cream, which is delish. And we would all have Coke in glass bottles. Like, that was the thing. It was always vanilla homemade ice cream and Coke in glass bottles. So the Coke in glass bottles is something that I try to keep alive with Evie, where every Christmas we'll have the Coke in the glass bottles. This year they
You
were all
guys are
sold
like
out.
the commercial with the polar
Yes,
bears.
I have no joke.
Have you fallen victim to that? Is that
No, they were doing that before that was even really a thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's I grew up in a very 50s-esque type of
Oh yeah.
situation with my grandparents. So a lot of that stuff that seemed like nostalgic 50 was just normal to me. But yeah, like this year though, I went to our local grocery store and they were all out of the glass Cokes, and I was like, no. So I wasn't able to keep that little tradition alive this year. Sucks, but pandemic is the excuse.
Hey, do you guys know Prince Edward Island in Canada? So
No.
Prince Edward Island is a small island off the east coast of Canada, and it's actually where my mother was born and grew up, but that's beside the point. You can only buy glass bottles in Prince Edward Island. Milk, pop, juice, everything. It's all in
Really?
glass bottles. Yeah.
Why is that?
It's illegal to sell plastic bottles because they're trying to be environmentally conscious.
Interesting.
Yeah, so people on the island, they leave their bottles out, or they recycle it. It goes back, they get washed, and then reused. Yeah. Anyways, that's beside the point. Sounds like you're still gonna try and hold on to some of those things. I mean, I think it'll be kind of cool, just the three of you this year and in the house. And
The one thing I miss super bad from my childhood Christmas times is in the windows of my grandparents' house. They would have these little lights that were these little glass things filled with liquid, and as they heated up, the liquid inside would bubble, and they are super dangerous. From like 1952, and they would just catch on fire sometimes. But I miss those. They don't make them anymore. But I always loved those things. There were these little tiny little ornaments they'd put in the windows. Yeah, I love those.
Huh.
Anyway.
I'm really hoping that we get a good snowfall. I would like to have a poofy Christmas. It's supposed to warm up. We're expected to be in plus temperatures on Christmas Day, which is less good. We do have a lot of snow though, and it's minus 18 Fahrenheit here today, so
Ugh.
definitely cold. What we plan to do is, because normally every year I go to Carlo's family's house on Christmas Eve. They have a bunch of people over. We play games. We eat food. It's a big thing because, Filipino. It's lovely. There's all kinds of things going on. And then everybody leaves, and we keep playing games, and then we stay up till midnight, and then at midnight, we open all our presents, and then we go to bed. And then the next morning, I skedaddle back home and get things ready for Christmas Part 2, which involves everybody coming over to my house. And then Carlo comes later on, and so I'm usually not with my family on Christmas morning now, but we don't open gifts on Christmas morning anyways anymore. It's more of when everybody comes over at dinner, then that happens. So this year it's going to be a little bit different because it's just going to be all virtual. So we're going to open presents virtually. We're going to have virtual dinner together. So I've set up a Zoom call with my sister and my brother, and we're going to just hop on a call and have dinner together. So
Nice.
That's the plan. But Christmas Eve, I think there will be copious amounts of alcohol and Jimmy Stewart. So
yeah.
you want the moon? I'll throw a lasso around it. Bring it down.
We're actually supposed to. It's calling for snow showers on Christmas Day,
Ooh.
but that's not a bad thing though, because my daughter's never ever seen a white Christmas, and I can't physically remember a white Christmas that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
So hopefully you get a little sprinkles
Yeah.
here and there.
Shalene, you had mentioned that you're going to watch the kids open their gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you and Mom got planned?
We'll open our gifts and just be glad that we're safe at home.
Yeah.
Merry.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. That's great.
Okay.
Well, I think this is a good segue into our next segment, which is a new segment that I'm introducing to the show. Hopefully you guys like it. It's called Game Science, aka Gamestack, GS. You remember? And yeah, here we go. Okay, that was supposed to be super sciencey, but the special segment just felt like it wasn't over, and it was like, no, I'm not done yet. Yeah. This is a 2-part series. This week we will discuss the premise of video games as a therapy, and then on the next episode of Gamestack, we will showcase some current research that has shown the benefits of said therapies. I'm going to briefly introduce the idea, and then we'll have an open discussion about it, and then I'll just cap it off. So, we know that video games, younger people play for fun. People in their middle ages play them for a break. Elderly people play them to keep their minds sharp. And video games have been a significant leisure activity for the past decade, maybe even longer, overtaking extracurriculars such as reading and listening to music across the spectrum of ages. Nearly everyone in a developed country knows what they are on some basic level, and despite their success and aid, video games continue to be portrayed in the media as a waste of time, catering to the lonely, overweight, underachievers, the introverts, the lazy, those socially inept members of society. But, video games can become an addiction like everything, food, coffee, illicit substances, etc. But these one-sided negative stereotypes have little support and evidence within the scientific community and the scientific literature. And so this is part of the reason why I want to do Game Science segment, is to bring out that new science within the gaming community. The variability in what we call a gamer is actually quite diverse now. It no longer falls within a demographic of youth. A lot of middle-aged people are playing video games. A lot of elderly are playing video games. And it's really great because we're seeing that, social connection across spectrums, right? Millions play for fun. There is an equal number of people who play video games and games in general for positive impacts on relational experiences that gamers have with their beloved virtual characters. And in recent years, what we've seen is this shift in cultural perspectives from what video games are doing to players to what players are doing with video games. And it's really opened up this whole new social understanding of the importance of video games in, cognition and cognitive behavior. So this brings me to the topic of video games as a therapy, and that's what really lies at the heart of today's segment. And I'll open the floor to discussion. You guys have any thoughts about games as a therapy, your own experiences, your personal perspectives? I think for me personally, video games as a therapy is part of why video games came back into the fold in my life. You guys know that I picked up Fallout 3 way back in, 2000. And that was therapy for me. And games still to this day continue to be a therapy for me. Sort of a form of escapism. And I alluded to identifying with certain characters, building that virtual world, having that freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, I use games very much to escape reality. Not in a way where I can't face it, but just as a break.
Yep.
Being a part of a world where there's a little bit of significance in the character is nice. Where luck is a thing. I don't have any luck in the world. I don't have bad luck either, but I don't have any good luck either. So it's nice. Because I genuinely mean it's nice because anything that I earn, I've earned it. It just didn't fall on my lap. And so to play a game where your character has just like a smidgen of luck, like in Fallout, it's like, oh, I just happened upon this thing. Really cool to experience that in game.
Yeah.
When we were talking about therapeutic in this vein, my head kicked back to when I was a teen, and my friend had this game called State of Emergency for the PlayStation 2. I don't know if you two have ever heard of this game or not.
State of Emergency.
Yeah, it was like this really bad knockoff of Grand Theft Auto, I think. And it had this mode that we would always play. Oh my gosh. It had this mode called Clones. And the idea is you would pick a map, and there would be 250 or 150, I can't remember how many, clones running around this map. The objective was to kill all of them as fast as you could. And at the end of killing everyone, it would go, some dude would pop up and go, "Congratulations, you've killed everybody!" And it was like,
I love it.
woo!
I love it.
And it was just like you'd get down to one. You're like, "Where's that stupid thing at?" And you see him run across. And you're like, "Ah, I got him!" You know. And I remember like when you're a teenager, Grand Theft Auto and games like that were so important because
So important.
they allowed you to get out that rambunctiousness a bit, where it's like, I'm gonna
Yes.
sneak into the military base, do blows, steal a helicopter, and then kill a hooker.
And I think this is where video games have gotten their bad rap. Is right? Because I mean, yeah. Anyway, continue.
But no, I was just gonna say that it's, for me, I've used them in various facets that I think they've been very helpful. You know.
Mm-hmm. So not necessarily just a break, but maybe a form of coping.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Shalene?
I absolutely feel the same way. Games are very therapeutic in many ways. It's an outlet for aggression when you're feeling aggressive. It's a way to wind down and relax. You know, I play a ton of like indie games with relaxing soundtracks. You know, that's something I've always enjoyed. So
Yeah.
While it's also fun to go murder clones, like Rick said, it's another way to relax is by just experiencing a beautiful landscape.
Yeah.
Like Sea of Thieves. When we were deeply into Sea of Thieves, I used to just enjoy sailing. I would just go out on the water in my little sloop, and I wouldn't even want to do any quests or anything. I just wanted to sail. I just wanted to be on the ocean, and I found it soothing.
Yes, Sea of Thieves. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's gotten me through the winter last year.
Mm-hmm.
And
although that game can be so different because you're just sailing along in your little sloop and you're like,
and then all of a sudden you want to kill everyone.
No, a cannonball flies past your face. You're like, mother.
No, usually I'm like, oh, it's still nice. I don't care.
There's a galleon chasing you.
Yeah,
now.
it's fine. Yeah, I can totally share in the sentiment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's weird that I like simulation games so much. Like the flying is amazing. Like I have the same euphoria that I've experienced in Sea of Thieves with just sailing on the ocean. Same feeling in a plane at 37,000 feet. Oh no, my background. Oh.
What the?
It's on a loop, so it'll just reset. When video games became mainstream, there was a strong emphasis on understanding whether or not they were contributing to societal tragedies such as, suicide and mass shootings, etc. But anecdotally, I really believe that this was a narrative that was controlled by older demographics to try to make sense of what was really happening at the time. And they were definitely wrong about that. And the evidence shows that they were wrong about that.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, early evidence suggested that video games contributed to low motivation, reduced social interaction, and the development of chronic diseases. But, if we put on our thinking caps, we have seen the introduction of online multiplayer gaming. We have seen the introduction of physical activity within video games, i.e. the Wii and Pokemon Go, etc., etc. The list goes on. And we've also seen the adaptation of video games to professional training, like surgical robotics, commercial and space flight, etc. Public health education around diseases like autism and type 1 diabetes. Recent years have seen a push to understanding the positive impacts of video games on human behavior, and a lot of research has shown the benefits to the emotional and intellectual well-being of people who play video games. For instance, Olson, a researcher, showed in 2010 that youth who played video games were more creative, had increased social and intellectual curiosity, and a greater focus on exploration of our planet. Video games have also helped us experience emotion. Stories are our oldest form of communication. From the drawings on cave walls to Anderson Cooper's CNN reports, we value stories above all else in society. And so I really think that video games have these stories that can bring out the emotions in people, which I'm sure you all can relate to. Now, just to sort of cap off, the science of psychology or psychological projection, which refers to a phenomenon around a person taking part of him or herself and placing it on an external object or person. So this usually happens unconsciously. Most people are not aware about it. The concept is derived from Freud and Jung, which suggests that everyone projects onward in all aspects of our lives. But where video games come in is that while playing video games, players will often project themselves onto their characters. And it is at that point that a character in a game will often take on and become an extension of the gamer themselves. And this is where we sort of move into that whole idea of therapy as video games, right? And so this is because of the symbiotic relationship that is formed between being able to experience a sense of control through a video game character in a virtual space, but also become a representation of the player gaining control of out-of-game spaces as well. And so having that projection is possible because the characters that provide an object for the process itself and the qualities can be an extension and used internally to motivate the person behind the controller, right? So, and we see this relationship is even stronger when characters seem to survive against all odds, like in games like Halo, for example. And these situations really illuminate the character's resourcefulness in the face of adversity and instill a sense of resilience within us. If Link can do it, I can do it. Or, other of our other video game heroes that have defied all odds. And this really has to go back to the whole idea of forming that personal connection with the video game characters that we create. And it is a sense of therapy. It is a form of therapy. And so we see this through archetypes as well. And they're another good representation of this. Everywhere there's this idea, symbol or character type. And archetypes are really interesting because they're experienced cross-culturally. So they happen no matter which culture you are part of. Archetypes exist in all cultures. And it's what makes them so powerful to have a direct experience because they're commonly felt across all people. And video games somehow achieve that. And it is that relationship that you form with the virtual characters that you create. Anyways, so I think that, this provides people with a unique ability to cope, as we talked about. Also, try to find ways of understanding themselves, but also just escape from or take a break from what is real and what we're all going through. And I think this is where video games have really become so popular in 2020, is because it has been a difficult year and we have turned to it as a form of therapy. So that is part one of this of game science. Next week we'll talk very briefly about one or two scientific articles that have recently been published around the benefits of video games and how they are therapeutic. Awesome. And on to our next segment. I hope you guys enjoyed that. On to our next segment.
It was good.
Oh, also, if anybody would like to pick an idea or a topic for the Game Science segment, you can always just email us at info@wejustlovegames.com. Happy to talk about that. What are we playing? Rick, what have you been playing? Let's get into our gameplay.
Cyberpunk 2077. So, yeah, I really enjoy this game. I play on PC. I got a brand new graphics card pretty much just to play this game. So I'm playing it on
Ultra, you did.
RTX, everything. Like it's exactly how it should be played, or at least how they meant it to be played. And it's fantastic. There's a couple little problems here and there. My favorite issue that I had was so I bought a motorcycle, and so one of the things I never could get into was just like there's some people that can just cruise around in video games. Vendor, you play simulation.
By the way, the motorcycle is super cool.
Yes. Well,
It
there's a
looks
bunch,
so
and then go
cool.
off.
Anyways,
So
yes.
you
I
can,
love driving around. I was the guy that was the taxi driver in GTA 5 and
there you go.
4 and 3 and 2.
So fun.
Right. I've never been that way at all. I'm like, I just want to fast travel to get to this place because I hate dealing with all the mucky muck. I have done a few times now where I've gotten on my motorcycle in first person and just cruised out to the Badlands, the desert areas with like the big satellites, and just drove around for a while. Just scooted around. I tried to get my motorcycle as fast as I could. It tops out at 189, won't go any faster. And doing that in basically like LA traffic, and then all of a sudden traffic jam.
Oh, really?
That's surprising. Yes, you're like,
Okay.
oh no. By the
Well,
way,
maybe not for people who live in LA, but
well, I had to weave in
there
between cars
people
that
in
were
live
stopped.
people living in LA are playing Cyberpunk 2077. They're like, "It's so realistic."
Pretty much.
Oh, which pathway did you start?
Street kid.
Okay.
I'm a street kid. So I started in Night City. And so I drove out to the Badlands and I was scooting around there for a while. It's very hard if you start in the city. So I turned around and I was heading back in the city, and you're coming up on the skyline, and it's this crazy, like, the sun's beautiful, the neon is everywhere, there's flying cars and stuff, there's cars on the road. It's just this, it's really cool looking. The game is so cool. It's this weird mix of like Back to the Future and Blade Runner, where like there is a
Okay.
lot of what I felt things that look like Back to the Future, like the jackets or the shoes.
Mhm.
But the dystopian nature of it all feels like Blade Runner, only not as dark. It's a very bright game.
Mhm.
So it's this weird mix of just kind of everything's bright and snappy, and also there's this really terrible underlying factoid about it, where it's just yeah. So
I've heard that people say that the game is really dark. Like
um,
visually, it's just dark.
no,
The character creator is really dark.
certain places are very dark, like in like
Are you
IT
speaking
rooms and
metaphorically,
stuff.
Shalene, or
No, it's very dark. The character creator. I look
it's
way
no
different
light.
in the sun than in the character creator.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get to the character creator, and I'm sure you will too, Shalene.
I have things
But
to say.
in just the main street area, it's very, as far as the colors go, it's very vibrant.
Okay.
In my apartment, when I have the shutters open, I didn't even know I could open them, and then one day I opened them and it was like sunrise over the city skyline with like
Oh.
cars flying by, and I'm like, dude,
Nice.
this is really cool.
I wonder what that
And
would look like on my.
probably look pretty dope.
Yeah.
Probably look pretty
Ooh,
dope.
yeah.
I'm not going to spoil anything, so trust me, this is not going to spoil anything. But speaking of this motorcycle, you can summon your car to you. That's not a spoiler. That's just a cool feature in the game where you're like, man, I need a car. Beep, hit a button, and it comes up to you.
Like whistling for your horse in Red Dead.
Yes, or Witcher. So the the motorcycle, when it comes up to you right now, it does this thing where it does an endo. It'll come up and then go, and then do an endo and then fall down. Well, one time it stopped, and I was like, awesome, I'm going to waltz up to my motorcycle and get on it. And I walked up to it, and it went and took off down the road. And I'm like,
It left without you?
yes, just took off. I'm like, no. So I start running. It comes up to a four-way intersection. It slows down. I'm like, yes, I can catch up to it. And then it makes a left-hand turn and goes down the highway. And I pull up my binoculars, and it just watches it get smaller and smaller and just drives away. And I couldn't call it back. Kept hitting the button. It wouldn't come back. So I had to reload my save in order to get it to work.
That's
But
great.
it just went gone. So there's a couple like visual bugs. The way that your character sleeps is real odd. I thought it didn't make any sense. I think they were going for like he just flops down and goes to sleep, but he's sleeping on like 2 feet of the bed. It's weird. Anyway, there's I had like a couple of HUD elements stick up on my screen that I had to reload the saves for. I do the thing, actually Fallout taught me this: save twice, load once. Every time I save, I make 2 saves, just in case.
So
you know.
what's the UI like when it does work? Is it nice?
Yeah, it's fine. There are many branches in which you can customize your character depending on what type of character you want to be. Like if you want to fight stuff or use melee weapons or use guns or whatever, the magic, quote unquote, in the game is actually hacking. And my character right now is a hacker pistol build with slight assault rifles.
Okay.
And I have him dressed up that he's got really nice slacks, like pleated pants, really nice shiny shoes. He's wearing a
Like a
nice
gangster.
kind of. He's wearing a nice pinstripe collared shirt that's rolled up, and he's wearing a bulletproof vest.
Oh.
So he's kind of like this like secret agently looking cop. Kind of thing.
Okay.
They do not explain hacking well at all. And it's not super complicated, but it's just kind of weird to get used to.
Well, is this only because of your perspective, or that
No,
they
no, no,
just
no, no,
haven't
no,
done
no.
a good job at
No,
that?
this has nothing to do with IRL hacking at all.
Not that Rick is a hacker. He's
No.
studying security. So Rick is not a
so
hacker.
the way that this works is in the game, everybody's kind of augmented in
Right.
some fashion.
So it's a little bit like Deus Ex.
Yeah, well, it's a lot like Deus Ex.
Oh.
And how your fridge, and how nowadays people buy smart homes where the thermostat and the fridge and the freezer and everything is connected.
Mhm.
That's how this game is. So you can walk into
Okay.
a room and you look at a camera and ping everything in the local network and see where everything is at, and then you can kind of go from there depending on what you want to do and how you want to hack. So that's really cool. It's a little weird how it works, and I still think it's not super smooth, but I really like doing combat with that because it's kind of like magic in a way.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
instead of casting a fireball, you're doing something else.
Yeah.
Trying to think. So we're going to talk a little bit. One of the things that came up when the game first came out is how you have the ability to kind of create your character any way you want, and any shape or body part, anything like that. And Shalene will kind of gripe on the character creator as well. But one of the things that I love about this game, and I remember some of the comments are that it wasn't, very progressive in some areas.
Mhm.
We'll just say that. But one of the things I noticed about the game is it's not about progressivism. The world doesn't give a rat's ass about you at all.
Okay.
So you can create your character exactly who you want to be, as progressive as you want to be, with whatever body parts you want, really. But then you're the only one that cares. When you get into the real world, nobody cares about you. And there was this moment. There's a lot of gratuitous ads. Like, there is some real blatant ads, right? There's an ad where there's a girl, she has a beer bottle like shoved between two giant presumably fake bosoms.
Yabos.
And people are like, oh, this is just objective, what I find funny is when people are like, this game is demeaning to certain gender types and whatever, and then they're like, all right, so Pornhub.com, and I can't believe that they would put in ads like this spits into, and I can't believe that they would do this thing. So, like, what I find about the game is I think the reason it makes people feel uncomfortable with how blatant it is with, like, sex and body parts and stuff like that, and how much it doesn't really care about any of it and just kind of objectifies everything, is how accurate that is in real life, and we don't even think about it. So my reference there was, like, people will, like, put the most ridiculous kinks into their Pornhub searches, but then get real mad about this game having this ad, right? And so my point is, the game doesn't, like, the people don't care about who you are. Your individuality doesn't matter. You can be individual, and the corporations will sell you on the individuality. But other than that, you're the only one that cares. And I find that so refreshing, where the game is not, like, pushing anything on you. It doesn't make you the center of the universe. You're just a cog in the gear that is just a money, you're just
So what is the
someone to
premise?
spend money on. I don't want to give that away.
Okay.
Okay.
Have you
and-
seen Keanu yet?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And boy, howdy, it's not what you think.
Oh no.
But I love every single second of it. But again, that's one of the craziest things about this. You're not this spectacular dragonborn witcher, the vault wanderer. It's none of that. It doesn't care. And I love that. And I love how
So you all along you just want to be a nobody.
no, but
Like in the
But
game,
who
you're
you
just a nobody.
Right. You don't want to be. And just like in real life, you don't want to be somebody who's insignificant, but
Right,
the
right,
world
right.
doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know,
Fascinating.
corporations are trying to pull money out of your pocket in real life as they are in the game. It's just taken to a kind of a crazy
So there's an
degree.
artistic sense to it.
I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this game is very much a reflection of how
What
things
we
could
are
be.
going to become.
There, you know, in the game, people have access to technology on an unprecedented level, and yet still poverty exists.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So there's
classism
class divide.
exists.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes, and but to a much greater degree, and you know, I think it's uncomfortable. I think the game is very uncomfortable in the way that it addresses certain things. There's one point where I'm having a conversation with another character, and in between us is a hologram of a nude girl dancing. Nobody cares. Nobody acknowledges it. We're talking through.
And that's not a bug.
No, we're talking through. This is supposed to be, I mean, the hologram was of a human being, right? But nobody cares about that human being because we're just
I see where
talking
you're
through
going.
that person.
Right.
It's just a thing. It's a backdrop. It doesn't matter. And I think that can strike people uncomfortably in how gratuitous the game is with that.
So it's very dystopian.
In that regard, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think it's so cool to experience it on that level where
Okay.
you get it. I mean, if you get it, you get it, and if
Right.
you don't, you're just gonna hate it because
Yeah.
it's like too much. But anyway, I'm done. But I
Well,
love Cyberpunk.
I mean-
I'm having so much fun with it. The combat's wonky. The shooting is definitely not as smooth as Destiny 2. I'd put it on Fallout 4 level, kind of.
Yep. Yep.
But it's only going to get better, I think.
Great. Well, I'm glad that you got a new graphics card then,
Me too.
because you would have been the 2% that was like, it
Would have
doesn't
been playing
work.
on low graphics.
We're gonna get to Shalene's Cyberpunk gameplay just in a moment. I'm just gonna quickly gloss over my own gameplay so that we can get to that. So I've been streaming Zwift once again. It is now winter, and I'm holding myself accountable and trying to stream every single day. I'm usually doing about an hour on the bike, 20 minutes or 20 kilometers, and an hour on the bike, which is tough. Thank you to my regulars who are showing up in my stream to cheer me on, and some of the new people that I've met from England and Scotland, very avid cyclists, and it's really nice to sort of get more involved in that community. Zwift is absolutely awesome. If you guys are Zwifters, if you're listening to the show, there is a timed event going on right now, a New York route, which if you do the route, you get a retro jersey unlocked. And that is an exclusive part of Zwift, so you have to do the route to get that jersey. ProMods Canada, which I've talked about previously on the show, has now been officially released. So ProMods, and this is for American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator. ProMods is a third community-developed addition to Euro Truck Sim and American Truck Sim. And ProMods has basically taken the existing game and beefed it up, made it graphics better, made it more realistic, made road signs more realistic, added monuments and historical things that people recognize. And one of the things they've been working on for the last year and a half, I think, or more, is ProMods Canada. They've been building the Canadian Rockies. Now, I've driven Kamloops and Penticton and Vancouver and Osoyoos and Radium in real life. It's nothing like that in Canada Pro Mods, but it's a pretty cool likeness, and I definitely enjoy it. It's wonderful. I added in the snow mod so that it was like, snowy and very Christmassy and, just wonderful. I seen a Tim Hortons. There's Tim Hortons in Canada's Pro Mod, so they have done their job. Although Tim Hortons is now an American company, and I don't like Tim Hortons, but it is a Canadian icon. It's just something. It exists in Canada Pro Mods, and I think that's really cool that I seen that. It was also really cool to cross the U.S.-Canada border.
Can't do that in real life.
To drive up to that gate and see Canada on the sign, because I've been driving ETS and ATS, and all I've seen is Palm Springs, California, LA, San Francisco, France, Calais, Glasgow, Reykjavik. I don't get to see any of the signs that I've seen in real life, and that's really cool. So I'm enjoying American Truck Simulator. I have been gifted a new game from RTZ13. It is called, well, it's not new, but it's pretty awesome. It's called Breath Edge. So basically, you're on this ship, and this ship is a funeral barge. It basically carries dead bodies, but something happened. It got hit by an asteroid, and it got obliterated. And the only person that survived is you, in your little crew quarters, somehow, totally intact with oxygen and everything. How convenient. Your grandfather passed away, and the only thing he left you was an immortal chicken.
An immortal chicken?
Yes. So you are a spacefaring survivor of a crash with this chicken that won't die.
Does it lay eggs?
You carry him everywhere in your pack. You can use him as a tool to like plug holes and stuff. It's hilarious. And the game narration is the funniest in-game narration that I've ever experienced. It is so cynical and critical of you as a video game player. It is hilarious. You guys have got to try it if you get the chance. It's like, here, go and do these 3 terrible, annoying things that the developers have made you do. And then you have to like go out and find the 3 things, and then you come back with the 3 things, and then the narrator's like, great job, you found the useless things that the developer put in the game that you don't need to even care about. It means nothing. Here's 99,000 points. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, there's this whole lore thing too. And I've only just started playing it. I'm trying to do some of the tasks and things like that, but it's really cheeky. Like I found a hamster stuffed into a toilet, and when I pulled the hamster out, all this poop started floating out into space.
Huh.
It was hilarious. I mean, a little traumatizing, but
Was the hamster okay?
Well, the hamster was in space, so asphyxiated, but and then I found this other guy who was like murdered by a lamp on like this sex bed chained to this headboard.
This game took a turn.
It's great. I love it. I can't wait to play more of it over the holidays. RTZ13, thank you. Okay, next on the list very quickly, I've played some Raft. Raft has always been a game that I've wanted to play, but let me tell you, it's like reliving Waterworld all over again. Dry land is not a myth. I've been playing it with my friend from Toronto, and we've made it to the final city, which is so cool. The game is very simple and very basic, but it's been a fun adventure. We've got this amazing raft. It's started out as 4 little squares, and now it's this giant thing with engines and water systems and gardens, and we've got our own goat and chicken. The goat's name is Gary, and I don't know what I can't remember the chicken's name, but
Is it immortal?
No, it's not. We've got a bedroom and a kitchen, and it's awesome. Another crafting survival type thing. Yeah. And just last on my list very briefly, Fall Guys Season 3 dropped on December 15th, which would have been Tuesday. Now, the last season was really bad, in my opinion. Very terrible courses. But this new season is fantastic. There's like elf outfits, and there's a Krampus outfit. I've got Krampus pants. And when I put the pants on, I got little hooves, and there's a little pigtail or tail that sticks out the back. It's so great. Yeah, I love it. And I've got all these Christmas patterns that I can put on my little Tic Tac Fall Guy person. Like candy canes and stockings and Christmas trees and stuff like that. It's very fun. The courses are glorious. So everything is like Christmas themed, of course. You get on patches of ice. It's super slippery and everybody's sliding all over the place. Then there's springboards that will like shoot you out the side of the course into space and you're gone forever. and there's these giant snowballs that come down, and as they roll, they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they just like blow you out of the course, and you're done. That's it. Yeah. So if you haven't checked out Fall Guys Season 3, check it out. Lots of great Christmas stuff. It's very Christmassy. It will get you in the mood, and it is so much fun to play. And you know who I got playing it? 4 Mile Farm.
Yay!
And she loves it. So,
Nice.
yeah. Anyways, that's my gameplay. Back to you, Shalene.
Lovely. Well, I suppose I will open up with Cyberpunk, since that's the main topic of the day. Now, I have not played as much Cyberpunk as Rick has. I've probably played about 2 hours or so. Also on PC, I bought the GOG version because it made sense to me to buy it from CD Projekt Red's own platform. So, it's most of my experience is really with the character creator, because you know me. You guys know me. I spend hours in the character creator. I love it. I want to spend all my time tweaking appearance things because it's fun. I enjoy character creators. Honestly, I have not a ton of interest in Baldur's Gate 3, but I really want to try out the Baldur's Gate 3 character creator, and I've been tempted to purchase it just for the character creator. But
El Yankee and chat's like, did you even start the game?
a little bit,
Valid
yeah.
question.
I did start the game. It is a valid question. It is. But not enough games let you save while you're in character creation. So you do eventually have to start the game. But let's talk about the Cyberpunk character creator. And this isn't something that you touched on much, Rick, and I kind of expected you to.
I was letting you handle
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. So first off, the character creator is way too dark. There are no lights. It's like getting ready in a dark motel room at 4 a.m. Yes, a single light bulb, and it flickers. It's like a 30-watt bulb. And you're trying to get ready. You put on your makeup. You think you look good. But then you walk out into the sunshine. You get in your car and you see yourself in the rearview mirror, and you look like a clown. You just look terrible, because what looks good in a dim motel room does not look good in full sunshine.
That's why motel rooms are dim.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, I don't.
You know where I'm.
Like
Yeah.
that subtle realization.
Yeah.
Don't like that subtle realization. I look good in motel rooms, Fender.
But yeah, so I'm very unhappy with the fact that the character creator is so dark. That is definitely a thing. There are a couple of curly hair options. They are bad. They are pretty bad curly hair options.
But there's curly hair.
None of them on your head. I thought you were gonna say that joke.
Remember when you chose curly hair in Ark and it was actually just a fro?
Yes. It was just a fro.
You're like, oh, they have curly hair.
And her eyebrows were like...
My eyebrows were magnificent. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
they were so good.
Okay.
I loved those Ark eyebrows. My Ark character was a work of art.
Yeah, it was.
But the makeup is not great in the Cyberpunk character creator. It's not super great. It's not as bad as it is in a lot of games. I will grant that it's not that bad. But it's still I feel like it's very plainly designed by someone who's never worn makeup.
Again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They need to teach somebody how to blend. Eyeshadow needs to be blended.
How is it that we have these like world-class graphics, but the makeup looks like Marge
just
Simpson got shot with Homer's makeup gun?
Can't they just like look at some people who wear makeup before they design the makeup?
Good.
And of course Rick took it to other hair that's not on a person's head. Yeah. There are options for such hair below your waistline.
Designs.
Really?
Yes, multiple
designs.
Can you make
arrows
the
or hearts?
designs?
Yes, you can have
Wow.
a shape design.
Yes.
Can you make the carpet not match the drapes?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes. And of course I expected Rick to bring up the fact
That
that
you could make it either schlong or schlort.
yes.
See, I have to get it now.
Now it's not the kind of size customization that existed in Conan,
No.
where there was an actual slider.
Is there swinging? Does it flop around?
Oh,
Yes, I
man,
was shaking my
it's-
character
yeah,
for a
there's-
while.
Perfect.
I got the elephant trunk.
Yeah,
going.
but you can choose. You have
Oh,
two
Joshy.
two aesthetic options for as
you
Josh
can,
is-
you can get the Gentile or the Hebrew version.
yes,
Wow.
yes, you have those two options, and then there are 3 size options.
3 sizes?
I feel like I should mention this too, by the way. I went with the default. I felt like it was just
Now,
I'm not
okay,
gonna
now
care.
if you went with the big size, if you
that was my
upsized,
point.
if you upsize, does it show when you wear clothes?
It shows during certain scenes, I believe.
Really? Are you like
There's also a glitch where it peeks out.
Mhm, yes, there is.
oh, is that a glitch? Bug or a
Yes.
feature?
Well, yeah, now Shalene, you went with a female character. I went with a male character, but this was a dilemma for me because it was like, well, I can't pick the short because nobody's gonna pick the short one unless they're gonna be silly, right? No dude who's Terry Crews-esque, if you will, is gonna go with the short one to compensate for that. I didn't want to go with the long one because, again, that's kind of audacious, especially when
Just
it's
get a
game where
big
I'm
truck.
just playing it.
Just get a big truck.
So I went with the normal one because I feel like if anyone did ask me, like, hey, man, so what size did you pick? Normal, just default. Just the normal one.
Just went with default.
Yeah. Anyway.
See, I feel like there's a lot of room for interpretation when you talk to people who play Cyberpunk, and that
There's
comes
this
up,
whole psychological aspect to
right?
it
And it's
now.
like now I'm,
Yeah.
now it's
And-
like
And this is what I was saying before. You put so much time and effort into this, and then nobody cares
But
in the game.
I'm gonna
now-
bring up something
okay.
real petty, guys. I'm gonna bring up something
This
real
is not
petty.
petty. This is not
It's-
petty.
Okay, so we have these options that we've discussed, whether you want the Gentile or the Hebrew version. And you have these different lengths and stuff. But if you choose that you don't want that part, if you choose that you want a different part, there are no options. There are no options.
Nope.
what?
You get
No.
one.
And because they all look alike, apparently. Yeah, there's only one option. So I feel like that sucks. It's
Yeah.
I hate that. Like,
So
It's-
okay, so Rick, you were talking about how there's like these deliberate things about Cyberpunk that they just don't care about. This is one of the things that they should have spent.
This was a
time
design
caring
oversight.
about. Yeah.
Well, this was a design oversight that clearly somebody who hasn't had much experience in the world was like, yeah, they all look like that. I'm
There's
sure.
1,000 people at CD Projekt Red. You can't tell me that one of those people is not
agree
a
with you.
woman who sat down and said, "Wait a minute."
I agree with you.
Wait a minute.
I agree with you. Shalene agrees with all of us too. There should be
Mhm.
thigh gap, maybe a little more Dumbo droopy-esque.
there are many different forms, many different and they're all lovely in their own way, and you should get to have some customization.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just made me sad that there was customization for male parts but not for female.
I was
So.
very surprised when I saw that. There wasn't at least like one other option. I'm like, are you
Mhm.
kidding me? Like, it doesn't make. It's one of the dumb designs. The same person who designed the makeup designed the phallus.
Mhm.
Chalice.
Can
Chalice.
can I just like derail us and take a little bit of a step back to my gameplay? because I didn't talk about ARC with you guys, and I wanted to mention about the gay bar that we built.
Oh, nice.
So we built a gay bar, and there's this massive dance floor with lights, and there's like gorillas walking around, daddies. But then we also put paintings of like, questionable parts all over the bar, and they're beautiful. It's like it's art that we've pulled offline, and we put it all over the
like
bar.
Georgia O'Keeffe?
Oh
Or-
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful. Anyways, there's many
Yes.
of there's many vaginas
There are
in
so
our gay
many
bar, and it's
different
glorious.
Yeah, it's there's no reason to have only one form, and I just that bothered me. It made me really annoyed.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because it's kind of a new concept that maybe they felt? I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just being genuinely curious that like maybe it was like they're like, well, we can't do more than one because like it's new, but we can like do penises because penises are easy and they just kind of hang around.
I totally
know.
don't think that's. I mean, if you're willing to put it there,
Yeah,
then
I know.
you
Why
should
would you
have
not go
versions.
the extra
Yeah.
step. Yeah. I
Mhm.
know. I agree.
And the hair, there's like 12 different merkins that you can have.
The interesting part about this conversation is that we're all afraid to say vagina.
I know,
Oh, you just said it.
because we're children.
We are children.
But we're all afraid to say it.
But yes,
I don't know why.
yes.
This is why there's
labia
only
come
one
mini
type in the
That's true.
game.
There should be
Vender's right.
multiple types.
That's right. Vendra's absolutely
Mhm.
right because
He
we're
is, he
afraid to
is.
say it. That's why there's not multiple
Mhm.
types. But you could have a pretty little manicured heart above it.
Mm-hmm.
A cute
Absolutely.
That's
shrimp.
adorable. That's adorable.
So,
Okay, so
character creator.
you didn't get a choice on that. All right.
Yeah,
I'm
didn't get a
sorry about
choice.
that.
And another thing that's really strange is that your character only wears underwear if you choose not to have genitals. Like there's a toggle where you can toggle off genitals, and then you wear underwear.
Okay.
But
okay.
if you leave the genitals on where they're visible, then you just don't have underwear. Underwear is not a thing for you.
So you walk around without underwear?
I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
you ruin all your pants.
That's
If you take your pa-
terrible.
if you
Like-
take your pants off,
Yeah.
it's flop. And as someone, no.
Can you zoom in
Um,
on it? Because like I want to is it really detailed? How much work have they put into this?
I don't know.
Anyways.
It's so strange. It was
Um,
strange decisions.
I agree with you, Shalene. It definitely is. It definitely is. And you can like mix and match, and you can do all kinds of stuff. And but again, like as far as I can tell, what?
Sorry, that just cracked me up.
What?
Sullivan7 said, "Not toggling off my genitals, no ma'am."
Oh. It reminds me of that King Missile song, "Detachable Penis." If you haven't heard it, go listen. But what was I gonna say?
Well, I
That's
think
the thing that
yeah.
I've noticed is like the only person that cares about what you pick, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't get
Yeah.
mentioned or cared about other than that, you know.
so it's
that's
not
like-
part of the game after that
no,
point.
No, it does not care. And I remember that being one of the
Okay,
gripes. They're
okay.
like, they should have been more like,
You know,
like
It's interesting that you should say that because this really plays into the segment that I did tonight about therapy and like attaching to your character in
Yeah.
game.
yeah,
And
For
sort
the
of
most
internalizing
part,
that.
you can really customize it, kinda. in some
Um,
aspects, you can.
Yeah. There are a lot of choices. So, I
Wait,
did
can you
eventually.
can you be a woman but have a penis?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In Cyberpunk?
The one thing that's pretty stupid though is that they made different combinations possible of top and bottom genitals,
Right.
But also, the pronouns are hooked to your voice.
Oh.
So
So that was an oversight.
that's yeah.
But other than doing voice 1 and voice 2, there's no way of really describing unless you're listening to it. So, I mean,
Hey, we got to hand it to them. This is probably
no,
the first
I'm not saying that. It's just they shouldn't tie pronouns to voice, it's very easy not to.
Right.
True.
It's very easy just to say choose which pronouns
Yeah.
you want.
They only have 2, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it had like 10, that would have been a little more
Mhm.
annoying. But yeah,
Yeah.
they could have just said 1 and 2 and be done with it. So the other thing that they didn't do, you could not pick a fuck it. You could not pick a feminine body type and get rid of the boobs. You had to keep one of
Yeah,
three
you had
size
to have at
boobs.
least small. There were 3 different sizes of breasts, so there was that much customization. But like, yeah.
You can't just remove them entirely, which again I thought was really weird. Like if you're gonna go that far, just do the extra thing. Like
Mhm.
I mean,
just
it
swap
is
the
it,
man's chest on the I
it
don't know.
is worth noting that like has this type of customization ever shown up in any other video game
I
thus
don't
far?
think so. Not
Conan
in the,
Exiles was the most customizable in those terms.
I
Right,
think
but
he's
I mean
referring to the swapping
transgender.
of the parts.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the
No,
first game in
no.
AAA. So it was an attempt.
So
an
great.
attempt was made.
Great. I hope
Mhm.
we see more of it.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I don't understand why it hasn't been done before. Like it's a character creation. Like you
Eh,
should be able to do whatever ridiculous
Society
things
is
you
very
want.
slow to adapt to things.
Society's wrong
Mhm.
about everything.
Cultural norms are way
Yeah.
out of whack. Hmm.
People like milk chocolate over dark chocolate, and that is a problem.
Pardon me?
Yes.
We're gonna table that and talk about that later.
98%.
I'm not sure we can be
is...
friends anymore. Okay. I did eventually leave the character creator to experience the game. So when I did experience the character creator, I left and I chose the nomad route. So
Oh,
I
nice.
started out in the Badlands, which was really neat. And I feel like the dialogue in this game is really silly in a bad way. It's
Yeah, it's
just
not.
it's not great.
No, it's not.
It's not well written. It's bad. It's straight up bad.
I didn't experience your line, so mine might have been a little different.
Mm-hmm. The
Sorry, the chat room's
I
killing
know
me tonight.
they're killing it. They're so funny. But gosh, I'm so thrown off. I did
I know.
enjoy some of the choices that we had in terms of you can sort of shape who you are based on the things you say, how you respond to people. But it's not completely free. I really did want to just like run over the sheriff in the first 2 minutes of the game. I wanted to run him down. I wanted to just run him over and move on with my life, but that was not an option. And I did a couple of quests. It was good. It wasn't incredible. It wasn't bad. To me, the game feels aggressively okay. So I want to go back to it. I really do. I plan to. But it's fine. It's not a bad game. Also not an incredible game, is my impression so far. So
Okay.
Solid 6.5 to 7.
yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of my favorite games have been average at best. So
Yeah.
just like Rick's choices.
Oh, you.
His
are
average
awful.
choices.
You are just.
You know it's there forever now, right?
I know, but could you imagine if I would have been like, "Yes, I chose the extra large"? How would that have gone down in this little community we've?
Doesn't matter.
established
Doesn't
here?
matter which way you take it.
Maybe I should have just went with a female character to avoid any of these situations. Which I found out that there's a couple romance options, and the one that I really, really, really wanted to romance, not into my type. Bummed out, man.
That's too bad. I did play other games besides 2 hours of Cyberpunk.
Did you?
Oh, wait, I forgot to mention the photo mode's real good. Photo mode
Oh.
is fantastic.
I was hoping you would
Yeah.
talk about that.
The photo mode inside, I probably spent an hour in just photo mode, just taking pictures, and the photo mode is incredible. There are so many poses and lighting options, and gosh, it's really good. It's really, really good.
Great.
So if you're a photo mode fan, this game is one that you're going to want to check out for sure.
I've seen a few portraits on Twitter and they look really good.
They're incredible. Let's see. Fallout 76, we've played a bit of that. The holiday event has begun, so that's lots of fun. Can collect some holiday gifts from Santa outfit wearing Scorched with Jingle Bell sound effects, which is fun. And the holiday season has also arrived at the wonderful world of Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Yeah, it has.
The snow is so lovely. It's so lovely. And you can catch snowflakes with your bug net. So there are these lovely little, just beautiful, perfect snowflakes, and you catch them with your bug net, and you can use them as ingredients to craft seasonal things. So I have this room in my basement, right? And I've turned it into this kind of ice palace. So it's got an icy floor and a lovely ice throne, and it's gorgeous, and I love it. It's like an ice palace. It's beautiful.
Lovely.
There are Christmas trees, and you can shake the Christmas trees and little ornaments fall out. And those ornaments can also be used to craft things.
I love
you can
it.
find little snowballs on the ground, and you can roll the snowballs and build snowmen. And I love it so much, you guys. It's so fun to do and so precious. And when you build the snow people, if they're not perfect, if the head to body size ratio is not absolutely perfect, they are so sassy, and they give you a terrible time. They're like, come on, what are you doing? What are you doing here? What is this? It's so funny. It's
Cute.
so funny. And I'm loving all of the new winter clothes. There's so many stylish new winter clothes, which are lovely. So Animal Crossing in the holiday season is just it's perfect, and
Great.
I love it, and I'm so happy.
I just love that Animal Crossing brings you so much joy.
Oh, it does. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
We're still playing Left 4 Dead
Right.
on Survival Horror Sundays. That's been a lot of
Are
fun.
you guys doing a show this Sunday?
We
Probably. Yeah,
Excellent.
planning
So
to.
be sure to
We're-
check that out on this channel here. When is that?
Sunday
What
6
time though?
p.m.
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Okay.
Eastern.
Eastern.
We're debating whether or not to do a rerun of. Do you want to tell them what happened, Shalene?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, I
guys.
didn't mean to sort of promote
Rick didn't
that.
make it.
Yeah, well,
He didn't make it.
they left me behind.
Well,
had
I mean that
to.
is
We
the
couldn't go
premise of
back.
the.
We couldn't go back. So okay, so we're playing Coldstream. We're going down a stream, like the name implies, and there's a waterfall. And Archon jumps off the waterfall and goes forward, and I follow him off the waterfall. And Rick sees a zombie attacking one of us, so he shoots it from up there on the top of the waterfall.
It was a hunter, so it had him pinned. He
Mhm.
couldn't move, so I was trying to kill the hunter so Archon could get back up.
Yeah, because Rick's a good guy. He likes to protect his fellow teammate, right?
Mhm.
But then Rick was downed. He was downed up at the top of that waterfall.
Bethin
I was
Rick.
jockeyed.
He was jockeyed.
Did you say
to death.
Bethin Rick?
No.
Bethin Rick? Like
But then,
like a
but
Rick?
then,
Oh,
but
I
Okay.
then.
I was like, there's a Rick intern now. Wait.
No. So Rick was downed on top of the waterfall. When the jockey was first attacking him, I turned around. I tried to shoot. I couldn't get an angle, because he was up there, and it's not possible to climb back up after you've jumped off of this waterfall. It's not possible, and so we had to leave him behind. So
That did not hurt me as much as what you guys did next.
we rode off into the sunset.
Yeah, they're climbing the tower to get to the helicopter. They turn around because I'm watching Shalene. The Louis. What did we determine his name?
Wasn't it
Louis.
Rochelle?
Louis.
Rochelle just gets inundated, and they could have put some rounds down to help her, but no, she gets down. They just run. They're like, "See ya!" Like they just left her behind. That hurt.
Yeah, we couldn't. It was too much.
I would have went back
So.
to try to save Rochelle.
You would have died with her. You would have died with her.
Doesn't matter.
So,
It's
yeah.
it's if I am ever in a situation like that, I want my friend to die with me, knowing that I was loved enough to even be attempted.
We mourned you both.
Rescue.
And
Right.
yeah. We rode off into the sunset together in the helicopter, and we'll remember you fondly. So
Yeah.
Goodness.
I gotta say, I had a
R.I.P..
I had a peaceful death. Rochelle was just getting torn apart by angry zombies.
It was horrible.
I was laying in a stream, looking up at the trees and the blue sky, just kind of bleeding out. But at least
my
it was
goodness.
peaceful.
Oh my goodness. Also, I did play a little bit of Overcooked 2 with Archon a couple of nights ago,
Nice.
before the new season of Fallout started, and that was a ton of fun.
Overcooked is always a great time.
We're still getting 3 stars on every level before we allow ourselves to progress to
Yep.
the next level, which is not always easy.
Yep.
And we were both a little bit tired that day, and we were not at our best, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. We were running around. It was so silly. I feel like the first round is always an utter disaster because neither of us know what we're doing.
Yeah, the first round is always like the let's see what it's like and then figure out our game plan.
And the second round is like the two of us shouting at each other for doing it wrong. And then the third round, we're just like working in silence because we know what we're doing by this time.
Oh man, I've been playing Overcooked 2 with some of my friends in Toronto, and we're realizing that it is some levels are easier with 2 people only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys done any of the Christmas ones?
No, we're on World 5 right now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Harshan says, "Wait a sec, we don't shout. I shout a little bit."
I just remember playing Overcooked with you, and Shalene is a master chopper. like there was cucumbers and carrots flying left and right, and we were like, slow down, there's too much, I don't know what's what.
I've seen what she's done with a switchblade in a playground, so I can only believe that it's true.
The other day, the previous time that I played Overcooked with Arch, and I was just throwing potatoes at his head the whole time. It was amazing.
I love Overcooked. It is
really fun game.
It is a really interesting team building game. Yeah.
It is fun. I feel like Overcooked is one of those games that teaches you who people really are.
Yes. Yeah, you learn
like Left 4 Dead.
You learn a lot about your friends in all video games. Now's a good time to segue into our outro. Is that it for your gameplay?
You could have made it so smooth. You hesitated.
Now, next week we don't have that Fallout show, I don't believe, because it is Christmas Day. And I'm sure none of you feel like doing a podcast on Christmas Day. So that will not be happening. You will be able to listen to that Fallout show in the new year. Also, don't forget, January 1st, we will resume our regular scheduled program, and we will have Gamestack, except it's going to be the Stack Awards, which you all know and love, the third annual Stack Awards right here on Gamestack Podcast, January 1st, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we have 2 very special guests, Tim and Liz, who you guys know. Liz's birthday is today, so make sure you say happy birthday to her. But they joined us for the Bethesda E3 live conference for the past 3 years, but because it didn't happen this year, we didn't get to have them on the show. So I thought, why don't we have them for the Stack Awards? So it's going to be a great time. We're very excited. So catch that January 1st. You can email us at info@wejustlovegames.com if you want to comment about anything that we've talked about on tonight's show. Share your personal experiences with Cyberpunk 2077. We love getting emails. We love reading those out. So send us some emails. You can find us on Twitter at We Just Love Games, Shalene at Shalene L, Rick at Rick McVick, and myself at Vandertron N. We have a Facebook presence, facebook.com/WeJustLoveGames, facebook.com/groups/WeJustLoveGames. And also, if you're listening live right now, and you haven't joined our Discord, right below in our Twitch page information is the Discord link. If you are listening after the fact and you'd like to get access to that, you can also send us a message on social media, and we'll provide the link to you as well. We record live every Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here, twitch.tv/WeJustLoveGames. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and review the show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Do either of you have a last word?
My Spurs, they jingle, jangle, jingle.
Good night, guys. And Merry Christmas!